Hello everyone and welcome back to another very exciting chess game. So in this chess game we have Emanuel Lasker with the white pieces and his opponent Harry Nelson Pillsbury. So we have two chess games, two chess legends in one chess game. So Lasker was the world chess champion at the time and Harry Nelson Pillsbury was the winner of the Hastings chess tournament from 1895. And this was from the St. Petersburg chess tournament from 1895-96. The tournament probably began around December and it lasted until January or February something. So this is why it is from 1895-96. And Harry Nelson Pillsbury started the tournament very well. But unfortunately, we can say that he was actually one of the most unlucky chess players of all times. Unfortunately, it is speculated that he contracted the syphilis bacteria or virus, and because of that, because of contracting syphilis, he became ill. I mean, he was suffering because of serious health problems, and because of his poor health, he was not playing with his 100%, and that affected his chess play, of course, and because of that, unfortunately, Harry Nelson Pillsbury died at a very young age. He was only 33 years old when he passed away. So, if it was not for his illness, they say he could even become the world chess champion. So, the St. Petersburg chess tournament was a small chess tournament between few chess players, between the leading chess players at the time. The combatants were Steinitz, Lasker, Pillsbury, and Chigorin. Sigbert Tarash was also invited to this tournament, but because of his profession, he was a medical doctor, he couldn't participate in this tournament because of his profession. So Pillsbury started the tournament very well, but unfortunately, again, because of his health problems, Lasker ended up winning the tournament, and Lasker was a very consistent chess player, very consistent and mentally extremely strong. So they also say Pillsbury had a poor mentality. He was mentally unstable. Some people say that, but they also say that he was mentally unstable because of his illness. Okay, so let's begin and let's see what happened in this notable game. This is from round 1 from the St. Petersburg tournament. So we have the Russian game, and this is a very typical start even today. So d4, d5, and developing the pieces, castling, rook to e1, bishop to g4, c3, f5, cementing the knight, and queen to b3. This pin is looking annoying, and black also castled, and then bishop to f4. Maybe in this position, knight to e5 is also possible, and then capturing the knight back with the pawn, and black is slightly better in this position. So I don't know what happened in here, but maybe Emanuel Lasker felt uncomfortable and he played bishop to f4. Maybe bishop back and supporting the knight is also possible. Maybe developing the knight was also possible. But in this position, Harry Nelson Pillsbury decided to play very simple, giving up the bishop and damaging the pawn structure in the king side, and creating a weakness in the king side, racking the pawn cover in front of the king. But at the same time giving the bishop, so pluses and minuses, and attacking the knight. So Pillsbury is defending the knight and attacking on f3, defending with the king up, and it doesn't look very good, of course, for Emanuel Lasker. So we have queen to d7 and queen to c2, knight to e6, attacking the bishop, bishop to c1, and then bishop to d6, developing the knight. So we have rook from a to e8. Well, in this position, we have knight to d2, but would you capture the pawn on f5? Pillsbury is trying a little trick against Lasker, of course. Pillsbury is not type of a player who is going to drop a pawn, because he was extremely accurate, but in this position, if Lasker would capture the pawn, then can you see what happens in this position? Well, simply rook takes on f5 is possible because after capturing the rook, then we have knight to f4, and this is going to be a discovery attack to the queen, and white can resign. This is losing the queen, basically, in this position. So, knight to d2 by Lasker, and Pillsbury is placing the rook in the semi-open file. Knight to f1, and basically Lasker wants to bring his knight on e3, and he's going to fork the pawns, and maybe he can also place his knight on g3. So this was maybe his idea in this position. But in here, actually black has a very strong move. And what would you do in this position if you had the black pieces? Can you spot the very strong move that black has in this position? If I give you a few seconds, if you need, you can also pause the video. Harry Nelson Pillsbury didn't miss the top engine move in this position. So again, try to guess the next move of Harry Nelson Pillsbury. Okay, Pillsbury impressively played the top engine move, and he played knight from e takes on d4. He seizes the opportunity and he didn't miss the best move in this position. And this is losing for Lasker. Lasker is basically losing a pawn. And we have queen to d1. Let's see what happens if capturing the knight. Can you see what happens? I think you have to see it. It is very simple. I mean, if capturing the knight, then the rook is hanging. Thank you very much for the game, and black is easily winning in this position. So, okay, basically knight takes on d4, and this is also attacking the queen, so there is no time for capturing the rook. So defending the queen and then simplifying the game, capturing the rook, and basically black is a pawn up. So in this position, this is a very impressive moment of this game, because Pillsbury played a very impressive move. Seriously impressive. In this position, he could easily go back and defend his knight actually, and he's going to be a solid pawn up against Emanuel Lasker, and that should be winning enough maybe against Lasker. But in this position, Pillsbury wants more. He played another very strong move. Can you guess that move? Well, actually, Pillsbury is winning one more pawn. Knight takes on f3. Actually, this is a knight sacrifice, but Lasker's position is falling apart in this position. King takes knight. If not capturing the knight, knight can go back, and basically black is going to be 2 pawns up, and it is almost resignable. But then f4, and it is very difficult to defend against the queen infiltration idea. We have queen to d1, because in this position, if king to g2, then we have check, and then there is no defense. Basically, black is getting white is getting checkmated. There is no defense in this position. How to defend queen to g2, checkmate. So if knight to e3, then this time queen takes on h2, and white is getting checkmated. And so king to g1 doesn't work, and if king to h1, then we have queen to h3 again, and still white is getting checkmated. So there is no defense basically in this position. So how to defend queen to g2, checkmate. Amazing, isn't it, against Emanuel Lasker? So these moves are not so easy to find. Maybe knight takes the d pawn is possible, as Lasker was suffering from the beginning of the game. But as you can see, knight takes on f3 is very impressive, and then pushing the pawn and hoping to survive queen to d1, but basically Lasker is losing. We have knight to e5 check, king to e2, and of course a king to g2 doesn't work because of pushing the pawn, and again we have the same idea, and white is getting checkmated. There is no reasonable defense. But after king to e2, this is also losing to queen to g4, because Harry Nelson Pillsbury is getting the piece back. So king to d2, and then capturing the queen, and then capturing the bishop, and this is easily winning, getting the piece back, and basically in this position Pillsbury is 2 pawns up. But After queen to g4, again, if king to e1, we have the same idea. I think black can capture the queen. King takes queen and then knight takes bishop is possible. So this is very similar. Knight takes on d3, and this is easily winning for black. Harry Pillsbury is 2 pawns up. And also attacking the f pawn, so attacking the knight and defending. Knight goes back, f3, rook over, lining the rook with the king. So b3, knight to g4 check. And this is very simple. Basically, Pillsbury wants to simplify the game, and he's 2 pawns up. It's easily winning. So bishop up, and then knight to g2, pawn up, bishop to c5, knight to h2, bishop in, c4, a desperate move, exchanging the pawns, and then h5, and after this move, that's all she wrote. Emanuel Lasker resigned against Harry Pillsbury. Unbelievable, isn't it? So Lasker was the world chess champion, but Harry Pillsbury defeated Emanuel Lasker very easily. But unfortunately, later it is speculated that Harry Pillsbury was suffering because of some health problems, and because of his problems, unfortunately, he couldn't do well. It affected his chess play, unfortunately, and then Emanuel Lasker ended up winning the tournament, and Pillsbury didn't win the tournament. Wilhelm Steinitz came second. So, okay, interesting. Steinitz was in his 60s, by the way, I believe, around this, in these years, which is very impressive. Okay, so what do you think about this chess game? Lasker decided to resign, of course, in this position. As you can see, the knight is also restricted. This knight is a horrible piece. It is being dominated by the pawn, as you can see. You can't do nothing in this position. This is almost a Zugzwang position. You can't do nothing. So this is why Emanuel Lasker resigned. Very nice chess game. So, okay. I hope you enjoyed watching this chess game, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much for taking your few minutes to watch my videos. Again, stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.